In this section, I want to just study how to solve an equation by graphing a function on the graphing calculator. That's all I'd like to do. It's so interesting and such a useful skill as you move into higher math sequences. So first of all, before I read or talk about all of this, you see this equation 2x minus 7 equals 0? And by the way, I'm about the third page into Chapter 3.5's handout. So if I were to find out what x is works in this equation, I would go back to my equation solving skills and I'd add 7 to both sides of this equation. And then at this point, I divide both sides by 2 to solve for x. And I'd find that x is 7/2 or x is 3.5. I can do this in a different way using my graphing calculator, and I can select my y equals key on the graphing calculator and enter into the first equation 2x minus 7 and then hit the graph key. So let's see what that does for us. Remember, this is not 2x minus 7 equals y, it's 2x minus 7 equals 0, but I'm still going to put 2x minus 7 into my graphing calculator. Now mind, I could graph 2x minus 7 by hand, but I'm going to go ahead and put in 2x minus 7, and I'm going to hit the graph key using a standard window. So, okay, you know, there's a bunch of ordered pairs that work in this equation, and the calculator connected the dots for us. Do you remember that the answer for this is 7/2, or 3.5? Would you look right there? Right at that spot. It's between 3 and 4. Right there is the spot where the graph of this equation crosses the x-axis. That will always be the solution to any equation, where the graph crosses the x-axis. Now right here in the description I've told you how you could find that spot, find that 3.5. But again, I'm going to show you why it works. So first of all, let's go ahead and do that. So if I go second and trace key or calc, I want to find what's called the 0 of the function, because this was 2x minus 7 equals 0, not y, but 0. The calculator asks me for a left boundary of this point. So my cursor is actually sitting to the left, but I'm going to go ahead and move it just a little so you can more easily see it. And it's still sitting to the left of that point, and I'm going to fix it by hitting enter right now. Then I'm going to go and cross over the x-axis little ways, and it wants a right boundary, so this is to the right of that point, and I'm going to hit enter. And then it says, hey Pat, do you want me to guess where this line crosses the x-axis? And I'm going to hit enter again. And sure enough, it tells me that x is equal to 3.5 when my value for y is equal to 0. Remember again, this was not 2x minus 7 equals y, it was 2x minus 7 equals 0. So by finding the 0 of the function, or where y is equal to 0, which is always on the x-axis, is where y is equal to 0. Any of these ordered pairs, y is 0. No matter what x is, y is 0. So right here, y is equal to 0 where x is 3.5. And I've found the 0 of my function, and therefore the solution of my equation. Okay, let's try a little bit more complicated one. So x squared minus 2x equals 4, you have to have this set equal to 0. So you've got to subtract 4 from both sides, or sometimes I say transpose. So the equation will be x squared minus 2x minus 4. And would you notice that there's two blanks? When the exponent is 2, it means there are two solutions to the equation. It does not mean that there's always real solutions to the equation. If there are real solutions, they will cross the x-axis, I promise. Now we know that this is a parabola. It's a squared equation. So we go into our calculator and we put in y equals x squared minus 2x minus 4. Again, my window is set well, so I'm going to go ahead and hit my graph key. And I'm looking for where this curve crosses right here on the x-axis looks to me about a -1. And right over here, it looks to me about 1, 2, 3, about 3.2. I'm just going to estimate a -1 and 3.2 is what I think. Let's go back to the calculator and let's ask it to do the work for us. So second calc, and we want to find the 0, so number 2, the 0 of the function. If I'm looking for that value right there, then I have to put my cursor up here somewhere to be to the left of that spot, and it wants me to be to the left. So to go there, I have to arrow to the left. Notice I'm hitting the arrow button. Okay, that's good. Now, when it wants a right boundary and I'm trying to find that one, I have to be somewhere down here. I just can't go way over here. I cannot be over here. Calculator would get confused. If I put a right boundary over here, it would say, hey, there's 2 answers. I can't find it. You didn't bound me enough. So right there is good enough. I am to the right. Also, look at these arrowheads. It's going to search between these arrowheads for that spot right there. And so right now I hit enter again. And you know how I thought it was a -1? It's really a -1.236. And then let's go check out that other one. So we go second calc, and we want to do number 2 for the 0. But if I want to find this one, I should be down here to be the left of that spot. So let's go anywhere, close enough, but I have to get to the right too, so I might as well take the time. Hopefully I haven't gone too far. Oops, I might have. I better come back. There we go. That's good enough. That's to the left of that spot. And then I got to get up over here to be the right of that spot and hit enter. So it's going to search in this tiny window I gave it to go look for that x value. When it says guess, I have to hit enter again. I thought it was 3 point something. It's 3.236 is the other solution to this problem. Well, let's take those values now and put them into the calculator and check them out. So right here, x squared minus 2x equals 4 was the original equation. And one of our answers was a -1.236. So I'm going to take a -1.236 and I'm going to square it because x squared minus 2 times, I'm going to put in parentheses because it's -1.236. If my answer of a -1.236 is correct, then I should get an answer that's close to 4 when I plug those values in for x. And I get awfully close to 4, and it's because I only went to the thousands place. If I'd carried this a little bit further, I'd have been better as well there. The other answer was 3.236. When I square that and subtract 2 times 3.236, I didn't bother with parentheses because it's not a negative value. I should get an answer close to 4. So I did. So things look good. The next problem says to graph x to the 4th minus 2x. So let's just go here and I hit my y equals key. Let's go x to the 4th power minus 2 times x. Now, the one thing I don't know about this is, how big of a window should I go? My current window is on the x-axis, it goes as small as a -10 to a +10, and then as low as a -10 and as large as a +10 for y. I'm going to go ahead and go with that for right now. Now, it's supposed to have 4 answers, but this particular problem has 2 imaginary solutions. So 2 of the solutions in terms of this graph do not come across this axis. So I'm just looking for that one right there and that one right there. We've been through the how-to. I think I'm just going to do this one. This one looks like 0, and I'm sure it is 0. So let's go ahead one more time. How do I find the 0? I'm going to go second calc, the 0 of the function, in other words, where is y equal to 0, and I want to find that spot right there. So I'm going to go a little bit towards it so that I am to the left of that and hit enter. And now I got to go to the right of that spot. That means I got to be up here to be to the right of that spot. And hit enter. And then I'm going to hit enter again to land on what's called the 0 of the function, where y is equal to 0 is the solution to this problem. I'm going to call this 1.26. And you know, of course, if I took 0 to the fourth power minus 2 times 0, I would get 0. But if I took 1.26 to the fourth power minus 2 times 1.26, that was my other solution, then I should get pretty close to 0. 1.26 to the fourth minus 2 times 1.26. It knows order of operations. That's 0.00047, e to the negative fourth. So when I check this, again, 0.00047, well, that's approximately 0, which is what it's supposed to be. So both of these answers check. Solving equations graphically is very, very handy. This one I could put into my graphing calculator like this. I could move the 1 over t over to the left-hand side, just put it in, and I'm just going to tell you that the answers to this one are a negative 0.414 and 2.414. You could also remove the denominator and simplify this equation, and that's something that we'll do in the future. I won't demonstrate that right now.